Our goal hasn't changed since 2009. We support, promote, engage, and inspire the arts community by igniting the ghost light that shines on the stages of the up-and-coming, the unsung heroes, the brilliant writers, and the dynamic designers. Stay tuned. Rep Radio is on the air. Welcome to Rep Radio. I'm your host, Darnell Radford, and today I'm sitting across from Jessica M. Johnson, and I just got to give her applause. This is going to go on for 2 minutes.
Okay,
because
cool. I'm trying to
this performance, this cast was wonderful, and if you don't know what we're talking about, you're crazy. Theater Horizon produced the regional premiere of The Color Purple, and it features Jessica as Celie, and it is wonderful. It is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I cannot say enough about it, and I'm trying to be impartial here. But as soon as the lights go down, we just know that we're in for a treat here, and I'm just like tipping my hat off to Theater Horizon for having the courage to mount this piece and to find this wonderful talent in our very own community. I heard so many people say, I saw it on Broadway and this was so much better. And like just about, there was just something that was so much more tangible about the performance of all of you. And the intimacy of the piece and the fact that we were in this space and it was not, it's not a large space, Horizon. But for us being in it, we're just, I just can't, because I'm sitting in the room with like everybody who's anybody's in there. Carlo's in there, Walter's in there, Miss May sitting right in front of me, and I couldn't believe.
Brian is there as well.
Yeah, Brian, Anthony Wilson. I couldn't believe Christina May, because I love you, Christina. I couldn't believe she contained herself as much as she did.
Same. I was really surprised.
Sitting in the front row.
So surprised. Yeah.
And I kept looking at her, going, how is she? How is she not?
I saw Christina May before. That day was crazy because I was running late and like all the things. I thought I was going to get there early and do like this really nice, like long warm up and all the things. And I showed up I think it was like 30 minutes before, half hour. My hair wasn't done. Like I hadn't warmed up vocally because I had been on vocal rest all day from previews and tech and all the things. And I see Christina May when I'm I just parked my car. I've got to gather all these flowers that I've got people for opening night. And Christina May is like, "There's Jessica Johnson. I see you, girl. They not ready, girl." And I was like, "The opening is upon us, and Christina May is in the building, and everything's gonna be okay."
Yeah, and I feel like we all felt that way just looking at the cast, and Horizon knew what they had too. They could. I mean, the marketing on this side was just super excited about it too, not because of its title, but because of its ensemble and its production team, and and it's so funny because I had to step back and say what about this? What about the revival is so much better? Or resonating so much more than when it first made its debut on Broadway. And just the styling, the arrangement, just the vocals of it, just tug at your heartstrings a little bit more. Yeah. And even if you're listening to the soundtrack has a very Broadway sound. And it's good. They have great voices. Yeah. But it's clean.
It's very clean.
It's clean. And this is... this has. I feel like this has this grit that quite often I sort of attach to the mission statement of Exile. For this feels like something that we would do, that this community would do. And just to hear it all was like, yes.
I know, it's so exciting. Like, even from the top. I remember when we'd had our day one, we're like diving into music because we had 3 weeks to do everything. And I remember hearing Candace, who's the church lady soloist, open her mouth and sing, and I was just like,
yeah, I
dear
mean,
God.
please.
Like, as soon as people start, it was one thing to be in a room with all of these wonderful women on the production side, and also like it was the first time that I've been in a room in a long time where I wasn't the only person of color in the room. Probably since Really, and then LaVon was the costume designer, and then before that it was Georgia McBride for me, which was 3 years ago. So to be in an all black cast, I was just like, what in the world? This is blowing my whole mind in the best way. My heart is so full. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yes, definitely. So tell me what the first rehearsal looked and felt like. Where was everybody, and what was their mindset as they walk into rehearsal for the first time?
There was so much just love and excitement and joy, because I think one of the things that other people were coming into the room with was, oh, I'm not the only person of color here. And I've never worked with a director of color ever. And so to be able to work with Amina, who is a friend of mine, somebody that I met early on when I was in Philly before I left, was such an exciting but very surreal thing, and such a gift, because it's hard to be in a room where you're an ambassador a lot and you have to say, actually, I don't think for cultural reasons this is a thing. And so to be present in a room with people who you already have an understanding with was like that was there and very much spoken to. Like, we had a 20-minute film, a photo session for marketing and for Laurel House, who is I guess one of their sponsors.
Yeah, and they did the post show discussion with you.
They did, which was really exciting. And I just, being in there on the first day, that's probably the most light, joyful day one ever, but also the fastest day one ever. We did all this music. We went back, we reviewed it. People were like, we've got it. Yeah. And people sounded amazing. And then the day was done, because with the rehearsal schedule that we had, we only did 4 hours here and 8 hours there. And so that first rehearsal was so short. And I was like, no, I just want to be here all the time with these people, always.
It can't be over.
It can't be over. We just started. And to finish the music and to go into staging and scene work, but that doesn't answer the question. The first day was miraculous. There's I don't have words for it. To be in a room with so many people, to do this project, and to be Celie is still very unreal to me. It's it's a thing.
I was trying to think about the first time I'd experienced Color Purple, and I could swear that I saw it on television, because I came out in the theater 85, and I hadn't read the book. The book came out when I was 2.
Yeah, I wasn't born yet.
Yeah. So the movie came out, and I'm pretty sure we did. I know we didn't see it in the theater, but I remember seeing it. It had to be on HBO or something, one of those channels.
Yep.
Just pounced on movies once they left the theater. But I do remember sitting in the living room seeing it, and it was one of those. Movies that I just remember seeing all the time, and of course you remember the key moments where you're just like, oh yeah, that's right, and thinking about I was just thinking about all the things that had happened there. I was like, oh, that's right, that was that movie was Oprah Winfrey's film debut, and the character Harpo is what she named her company after, and it's like, wow, so all this kind of stemmed from that.
Yeah, and that was and Whoopi Goldberg.
Yes, Whoopi Goldberg
made history.
Danny Glover. Yeah, it was just and she was wonderful as ah.
Yeah.
And I just remember it just being tough then, but now I'm processing it as an adult, saying like, wow, because I knew it was, tough to sort of digest then, but I was young. So, I was just like, that's not fair. I just remember just feeling that way about it all. And because of being so young at the time, I just remembered snippets and I'm like, how did it end? Like didn't remember how the movie ended. I just remember all those key moments where it was tough, and I remember, parts that are not in the piece.
Yeah.
The thing with the when she goes to get the lemonade, and I remember all that. And but I was just thinking about how many people will come and see this and think about the first time they saw it. And make those connections to where they were with their families and their lives at that time as they're experiencing it. Now, even though this piece kind of it is sort of celebratory in a way, because we're seeing all these wonderful brown bodies on stage and these beautiful voices. It's a terrible story, and you gotta tough it out through the end, and it does make you walk out saying, I don't know if I'd be that forgiving. A lot of my life was taken away from that. And, she has to, through all of that, Celie finds a way to love herself, because for the longest time, her focus was everywhere else. And it wasn't about, she never had a chance to really love herself.
Yeah.
And, I think it's great that even at that time, all of these women who entered her life kept telling her that she had to take her power and she had to own who she was. And for whatever reason, she just was not able to do that up until she did.
I think that's what I enjoy most. There's a quote from the book that I'm going to paraphrase and misquote terribly, but it's beautiful. And it essentially says, because of that moment when Sophia leaves, Sophia told me to fight. Nettie say to fight, but Nettie did. Maybe but if I don't fight, I stay alive. So it's like the difference between thriving and living life and just surviving, like just being able to breathe if you can, barely, through the day, and like what that looks like, and how love does allow breath and forgiveness and understanding and view of the world around you. And I think what I really enjoy about the musical that I think is downplayed is the song The Color Purple, because we get it at the end and it's a celebration, it's wonderful, and we get the lesson beautifully from Suge initially when Celie is mad with God. But Alice Walker notes in her notes on the book what she feels and who she feels God is, and that is so resonant within the journey. And I think that's what makes that whole story possible.
Wow.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful.
So let's break it down.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. I had too many notes. Because I had to keep track of this storyline.
It's a lot.
Because also in the revival, you don't really notice how much time has passed, because it's not like you see a projection that tells you 1909, 1920, 1932. Few years later, so you don't really realize, and I think that's the part of me that walks out saying, I don't know that, this situation could have been the cause of all this pain in my life, that I could just completely walk away, and of course it's a process. You got to figure out, you came out better on the other side, and was it worth it? And I guess when you think about it, we've all had tough moments we've gone through, and we're better. We're hopefully better for them. So at the same time, while I say that, I know that I can do that. I can do that. We all can do that too. It's just to see it all out is just, mind blowing.
Yeah,
okay,
everything's a choice. It's crazy.
Yes. So we meet Celie at 14. Celie's 14, and she already had one child. and she's got another one on the way. And we immediately are introduced to her and her relationship with her sister, Nettie, who is also amazing.
Just Money is amazing.
Yeah, Money. She was beautiful, and every time she popped back in with the sort of the reprisal of their song, it's just welcome back.
Yeah.
So we explore all of that, and then we immediately go to church. And so when we go to church, that I feel like the audience is ready to lose it, because we all know whether I don't even know. Well, I guess this would be a Baptist church. I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good question. That's one of those things that I never
AME maybe.
That's one of the things that I never got specific about.
I feel like when there's when there's the dancing and the shouting, like
it's an event.
I attribute it to an evangelistic church, because growing up, probably in my teenage years or sort of elementary to transition to high school, I went to an evangelistic church where the singing was like 2 hours. Then we had a sermon.
But I think for me in my brain, I just assumed it was a Baptist church, because I grew up in the South, and church is all day.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
But by the end, you're just like, by the end of that opening number, you're just like, woo, all right,
great.
This was great.
And then we go.
There are moments where it's just like, should we stand? Like, I almost want to give a standing ovation, like right here. I know it's not over, but here in this moment, we gotta focus. We gotta focus on how great that was.
It's like, cool. We're 3 minutes in.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So 3 minutes in, and then we meet the father, Alfonso, who, Southern father, and then we start to understand like some of the things we just would not tolerate at all today. We're just so commonplace in the South, and it's just like, so these are some of the things that actually sort of came up in when they were talking about the Me Too movement. There was I forget that guy in Alabama who was it was sort of these similar conversations where it was kind of like, this is just what it is, and you're just like, oh no. And then enter the church ladies. I love the church ladies, just busybodies, gossip, and they just carry the story. And these women, these three women, Candace, Chelsea, and Ryan. Is it Ryan?
Yes.
Ryan. Oh, just wonderful harmony together. And I was like, please come back.
So tight. I know.
Every time they left,
every time they come in, it like lifts in such a beautiful
Yes.
way and transports you to this next moment and provides you with such important information about these relationships in such a joyful, but also like very honest way. Like I feel very like certain that I know those women, that like when I was a kid, I know exactly who those women were in my church. Yeah.
And it makes me think about, there were these moments, I always pick on my grandma about this, how she could just open the front door and tell what was going on in the house across the street, without going over there, and then maybe like, hi,
close the door and be like, did you call her best friend who's down the street and be like, girl, did you know?
They ain't talking to each other now. Like they have not been talking for weeks.
Not after that argument.
How do you know? He slammed the door when he left. That's how you know. But it's like, what? How do you pick up on all this?
I love that it is the church ladies and how specific that is, because we only get in the book, we get a very quick snippet of who they are and the hypocrisy of that and how we laugh. But it is a bit of a satirical statement about what it is to be a religious institution and to deliver these truths about the world outside of the realm of these walls, which there should be honesty and openness and coming out into the world and being the church, representing the church and like being these gossips and like what that is. Which is wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. And there's like so many questions because like we're sitting here going, no, Celie is beautiful. What are you talking about? What are you talking about that she's ugly? Like, what are you talking about? Because then you're thinking like, then why did he have children with her? You know, like if you can't tolerate her, like this is how you treat her. This is just terrible. And
I think that's also that was something that I had to get my mind around. Like even when I went in for callbacks and auditions, we view rape and sexual assault very specifically.
Because it's about power.
It's
control.
about power,
it's not about.
Exactly. And it is a horrendous, dark, ugly thing, but it is also still today something that 1 in 3 women encounter in life.
Yeah.
And I like but we treat it differently because it was so commonplace then. And for women, Sophia has that line, sick and tired of a woman still live like a slave. Like for these women to be bartered with cows.
Yeah.
And in the book, what you don't know in the musical is that Celie has these 2 children by Pa, Alfonso, and he, because she has these children young, for whatever reason, she can no longer have children. And that is one of the selling points for Mr. That Alfonso tells him. He says, she is
like,
fixed.
You don't have to
she
worry
can't
about
have
it.
no kids, so you can do whatever you want. And the idea of women as property and like how relevant that is now, especially living in the post-Me Too era, which I mean, I don't feel that we're post-it. but to have had this hashtag moment and to be living in that now and to see it, because I feel like did the revival come out before that happened? Yes.
Yeah.
So
2015.
So.
And the women on the outside of, but also in this world, observing what Celie is going through, they feel the way we feel. Like, you gotta get out of here. You gotta stand up for yourself. And it's like even they're saying same thing. But when you're inside of it, you don't know what that fear is, and it's kind of like, there's a part of me that's like, what's he gonna do? Y'all married. Like, he would just have to put up with it. Kind of like, we'll talk about Sophia and Harpo, but it's just so terrible that, that their, relationship, for lack of a better word, kind of started out like that with this control dynamic, and she never had a chance. It also, when you're looking back on this history of like slavery and segregation, you're always looking at, we can control all these parts of your life, but we don't have control of our own lives. Interesting how you allow that to happen. And it's all about maintaining a sense of ignorance, when you don't realize, oh wait, you do have control, you do have some authority, some agency that you can take whenever you want to. Why didn't somebody tell me this like years ago? So it, definitely terrible to explore that.
Oh, absolutely. But I think the thing that's Amina was wonderful, the director was wonderful in the heartbreaking reminder that this was common. Like, this is a thing that happened because the way that women were treated was not the same. Women were still very much so property. Slavery, we were like 50 years removed from slavery when the top of this show, at the beginning of this show. So, the idea of people as property is not uncommon, especially at that time.
So she leaves, so Celie has to go with Mr. She leaves Nettie behind. Nettie is her world. But before that, her second child comes into the world. And before she can even really claim it, she has to give it up as well. And she has this beautiful song, Somebody's Gonna Love You. And that is a song that sticks with me a lot. Because I was gonna ask you like what songs are playing in your head all the time, because I was thinking like Our Prayer, of course, plays in my head. I'm just walking around the house. We'll see. But then you think about, they were just so beautiful, and I think just the raw sort of style of all of your voices. The fact that it's not that studio shine. It just, that's how it resonates so much more. And when you say somebody's gonna love you, you're just like, yes. Yes.
And I think that's one of the things that's so beautiful about the way that the revival is designed, is because it stripped so many things away. You really are invited to listen in every aspect to what's being said and to how it's being said, and the way that these phrases are manipulated and designed and leaned into. And Amanda made some really wonderful, beautiful. She's a music director. She made some really beautiful choices about how we go about things. And she immediately, because I had a really hard time with Somebody's Gonna Love You, because Olivia's already gone.
Yeah.
The first child has already been taken away, and from all I know, based on overhearing what the church ladies say, that child is dead. And to know that you're going to give up this child and that this child's going to die, is
terrible.
And in the book, she Alice Walker says when she looks at her child, I can't remember if it's Adam or Olivia. I think it's Adam, because Olivia's already gone by the time that we get here, begin the book. She says that he has his fist in his mouth, and she says, and she looked at him, and she says, you could have knocked me over with a feather. So for all of the trauma, there is still the instinct to love. And like, that I think that's for me what I come back to is that, like, I could forgive, but I don't know if I could love the way that Celie loves.
But I guess, and you don't want to be in the situation to ever have to try to figure out how you would process it either. So, that's what draws us in to those moments where you're just like, now we hear all these conversations about, like, should a woman bring a child into the world that's a product of rape? And the conversation of choice comes in from there. But in this moment, like, there was no other option. She had to have this child, and the fact that, whatever time passes from the time she has the child to the times that she has to give it up is enough to have this bond. Not to mention the pain she just went through to deliver this child. And it's just terrible to have him taken away, and to think that there's no modern technology where we can figure out where this child's going, how they're going to be taken care of. Is this going to be a good family? They don't even know. It's just gone. And it could have been down the street, but just too far for Celie to walk.
That's what's crazy, is that that baby was, Olivia and Adam were there. They weren't that far away. They were on probably opposite sides of the town. Like, when Nettie leaves, Nettie's not gone, but because the world is so small and so walled in by these men and the word they call law, like whatever they say is law, like the world is so small to her. It is where it's her house, it's her work, it's looking after these children that aren't hers, and trying to just survive. And Mister's way of, like, completely breaking her spirit is when Nettie comes to live with them, and he remembers that he never forgot that he wanted to marry Nettie, and so he makes his move on her, and he gets a no. And he's like, fine, and you get out of here. You got to go.
and you'll never see him again, never see her again. And just takes everything in her life, everything that matters. Like, her children are already gone, and now her sister, whose bond is so tight, is now taken away from her, and she's never allowed to see him. And the box that this piece, the book, the writing puts in so perfectly is to say, if you ever touch that mailbox, I'll kill you. And that's the box she's in. She can't even find out if her sister is doing all right, and her sister's like, I'm gonna write you. It's like there's so much to unpack there. It's like you kept the letters.
Yeah,
That's
something that's so interesting to you about Celie is how important the things that people say are. Like, people tell her she's ugly. Okay, then I'm ugly. People say that Mr. says that Nettie is dead to you. And then if I touch the mailbox, she's dead. There's no fight in her at all. There's no question about, for me, in those moments, there's no question. She's dead. Yeah. If he says she's dead, she's dead. And
it's like, but Celie and Nettie grew up together. So if Nettie felt like Nettie had this sort of confidence.
Yeah.
She had that courage. So what happened why didn't Celie have that confidence?
Yeah, I think, for me, I think it has to do with being raped at a young age.
Yeah.
And there's like other things in terms of like her mother dying and being the oldest, and
and she had to, a sense. And she makes all the, in everything she does, it's like her strength is tolerance, in a sense. She puts up with all of this. And in some way, that's her being strong, until she reshifts her thinking.
I think for me, I think I would disagree. I would think her tolerance I would think, for me, tolerance is a weakness. Because the choice is to say no. The choice is on Easter saying, no, actually, I'm leaving. Is actually standing up for yourself. Tolerance is weakness. It's a survival tactic.
Yes. I'm trying to.
I know. There's so much.
Trying to weave through this, but like not tell everybody how it all. You gotta go see it. You buying tickets yet? Did you buy tickets?
Oh, you need to buy tickets.
Did you buy 2? You have more fun with
Bring
plus one. Yes.
It's BYOB, girl.
Yes, exactly. Then we've got Mr. Sun, Harpo. And Harpo is. It's hard to believe that he came from Mr. He grew up with all that, but he doesn't embody any of that. He takes a liking to Sophia, who is so strong and so independent, and she walks in and everybody sits down. She commands a room, she commands a space, and it's driving him crazy, even though he wants to marry her.
Yeah.
And Celie, the only way she knows how, she tells him, "You're gonna have to beat her," because that's all she knows. Yeah. Instead of saying like you should, foster that, and like she wouldn't know, and it just sets it up. It sets up another opportunity for her to be like, "Girl, you crazy?" So Sophia comes back and she has her moment to tell her, "No, you gotta be better than this. You gotta want more out of your life." And I will say, hell no. Yeah. Hell no.
I really enjoy the development and like the journey that Harpo and Mr. take together. And well, it's not just Harpo and Mr. It's Harpo, Mr. and old Mr.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that we had a patron come during previews, and I won't give too much away. But we had a patron come during previews who was born in the 1940s, and she said, "I had to work really hard to make sure that I didn't pass certain things down to my children, so that they didn't end up like their aunts and their uncles.
Wow.
Or me, so that they weren't affected by those things. And like every time that I see them and watching them in that moment when Sophia comes in, I'm like, oh Lord.
Yeah.
And then seeing them at the end, the moment when they come together, it gets me every time.
Yeah. So a little bit of time passes. Enter Shug.
Shug Avery.
Shug Avery. Mm-hmm. Everybody loves Shug.
Shug Avery.
Everybody loves some Shug. She comes in and she's another like strong, independent, knows herself for the most part, goes after what she wants, and immediately meets Celie for the first time, and she's not even in the best of sorts when she meets her, and confirms what everybody's been telling her. You sure is ugly.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Great. Noted. Been told that before.
So let me take care of you in this moment, nurse you back to health. And in this moment, Celie starts to feel something she has never felt before. She starts to feel what is described as a tenderness. And, we're looking at it going, oh, okay, Miss Celie.
Yeah.
She has this connection, and Shug has this. She has this personality where she could have easily left Celie behind and said, like, I can't be. This is not me. That's not me. And she gives Celie something to kind of like look forward to in a way, and they make this connection. She's never had this connection besides the one she has with her sister, and that's like a beautiful thing to watch it sort of develop, and eventually brings up another wonderful song. Too beautiful for words. And I've heard Jennifer Hudson sing it. I've heard Heather Headley sing it. I thought it was so beautiful. And Ebony
Pullum, yeah.
Ebony, she's wonderful.
Yeah.
And Shug. And I was also thinking about the costume design, because don't they turn a sheet into a gown?
We do.
Right? I was like, no, they didn't just turn a sheet into a gown.
Yeah. Some days it's not as graceful as I'd like it to look. But
but on opening night it was there.
Yeah, I love the nod to it, because it's like this is like the creation that Celie needs.
Yeah, because it's also sort of a foreshadow of what Celie's capable of doing. Like Celie's like, let me
I got
figure
you.
this
Give me
out. Let me figure this out. Yeah, to just fashion fashion that gown out of a sheet. So by this time, Sophia and Harpo are kind of on the outs, or sort of a little bit of a break. And Harpo's on to the next thing, and he's thinking, I'm gonna open up a juke joint. And then he meets Squeak, played by Victoria Goins, and she tells him, if you can get Shug to come sing here, your place will hit it off on a good note, and then he ends up exploring a relationship with her in that moment. And meanwhile, Shug and Celie are kind of getting to know each other, sort of figuring this thing out, and then there's a brawl at the juke joint. That causes a whole bunch of madness, and Shug and Celie escape and have another sort of a moment where they can really test this water, and that's just a beautiful moment to see too, and it just kind of like solidifies. There's so much more here. There's so much more for you. Let's see, where are we after that? New relationship. And
then we get letters.
Then we get the letters. So, which is just crazy because Suge's in the space with Mister. Find these letters, and it's like that's all these years of being like detached from her sister, and to find out that she's still very much alive. All these letters have been written. She's been consistent. She said it, and now it's sort of like slowly begins to undo what everybody else said. Because the last time she saw her, she said, "I'm going to write to you. I'm going to write to you." And so she kept her word, and she's still on that. And now she's like, "Oh, wait."
Yeah.
And now we can't wait to get back from Act 2. Get back to Act 2. It's just... And then Act 2 skips... does Act 2 skip ahead? Do we go...
Act 2, we...
Are we still in the same time frame, or do we skip ahead a little bit?
That's a good question. I think that we're still a bit in the same time frame. I think, like, if anything, what's happening is... We discover these letters and Suge leaves. Yeah. So, like, that is the next day because she says, "I'm leaving tomorrow."
Yeah.
And then over the course of... I imagine in my mind that we are experiencing multiple letters. And so we are getting those over time. So I assume that it's over the course of a couple of days, a couple of weeks, and then we get to this other letter. Because in the book, it tells us that she wrote her every day until she realized that she wasn't writing her. And then she decides when she's heading to Africa, when Eddie just is heading to Africa, that she gets so frustrated and so sad that she hasn't heard back from her sister that she rips everything up. And she only writes on Easter and Christmas.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she went from having probably like... She probably has... it's years, so... By the time that she sees these, she probably has a solid 100 some odd letters to go through.
Yeah. It is. It's also interesting in this. It is condensed, even though it is a full, 2 hours 15. It is condensed because of the time that has passed. Then we see Harpo and Sophia sort of. Coming back, she went away to her sisters because she's not about
had
this
a whole
life.
Other child.
Had a whole other life, and they both had whole other lives, and it's just kind of
and we're still married.
Yes, but they don't forget that, and so I guess it's like estranged. They were estranged for a little bit because what's a divorce?
Yeah, what is that? We don't do that. We Christians. We don't do that.
They come back, and it's. And then it's Easter. It's Easter Sunday. Here come the church ladies again. And then Suge returns, and she says, "You still on the soapbox about you got to get out of here. Come to Memphis. Come to Memphis with me." And this is when Celie gets all her confidence, and she's like, "I'm done. I'm done living this life." She curses Mister, and she curses him and stands her ground. Says, what did she say? The exact thing? Because I feel like throughout
the curse, or I curse you, Mister. Until you do right by me, everything and everyone you touch will crumble. Everything you even dream will fail. Yeah. And this is like the first time she has ever talked back to him. And, he realized in that you do not have the fear, you don't not have the fear over her anymore. That's it. Yeah. I love that moment because for me, it's really, it's a shift of like what we put our faith in. Like, will I continue to put my faith in survival and fueling that with my fear? Or will I now put my faith in love and the life and the truth that these women have told me all along? Yeah. And I wonder
if Suge had offered to take her the first time, would she have gone then?
Yeah, I don't think I would have gone. I think Sophia tells her, "Let's go right now."
Yeah.
We can leave.
there were these options. Oh, I just can't. You're like, come on, just come with me. Just be here. You got to be out
Fear
of this.
Fear is powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's great. So she gets to Memphis. She's able to write to Nettie. Yeah, she writes to Nettie, and then her father passes on, and she inherits the house. So
from her real father.
From her real father. Yeah. So she gets her childhood home.
Yep.
She starts a business. Miss Celie's pants.
I just want to check on my purse.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And that's when we start to realize, oh, wait a minute, there's more that Celie can do than just be a homemaker. She always had this talent. We remember that dress she made
That's
out
right.
of that time. You know. So she's got that, and now she's got this business, and she's got her confidence, and she's in control now. And then Mr. in a way has sort of a come to Jesus moment with Harpo. And Harpo says, you got to change your ways. Like, you can't continue on the way you were. And it was like, why were you even carrying that way? And if you think about it all the way back, did he carry that way because he couldn't have Nettie? And it wasn't even a concern whether Nettie even wanted him. It's just the fact he couldn't have his way.
Yeah.
So he carries that.
I love that because I think it's so true. There was, during previews, there was a woman who came up and she said, my husband did not want to come to this at all. And then he heard Mr.'s song and she said, something in him has clicked. To hear a man say, like, these are the things, my circumstances are part of who I am. Context is everything.
Yeah.
And to witness a man realize that and make a decision. Like every night, because I have very few times that I get to be off stage. Every night I watch Tyson deliver the end of Mr.'s curse. Yeah. And hearing him say, it's not going to be something I say, it's going to be something I do, maybe everything I do. Like, ending it there. Like, that there is hope in change. Yeah. In changing and doing the things that you knew were right. Like, you let the world harden you and your circumstance, and because of who your pa was and all those things. I mean, his daddy beat him just for sport. And those beatings were bad because his daddy was a slave. So, like, just the thought of that is just like, wow. Yeah. If we know each other, we really knew each other, how much better would we love each other?
Yeah. and I guess that's the part where, in society, we hope that people who have done wrong can be rehabilitated and can change their ways. But emotionally, we're like, you don't get a second chance. So I guess, yes, that is the part of us that does forgive Mr. And encourage him to be on this path of redemption. So he sets out to do good. Yeah. And he along with Harpo and Sophia, orchestrate in a way. Or Shug, yeah. Harpo and Shug orchestrate a way to get this family back together. And it's just such a beautiful, gripping, emotional. Oh my God. Let's talk about that post show discussion you had this weekend, and what was some of the feedback, and what was the audience response from that? First of all, usually an audience is just so blown away either by that was long or oh my God, that was wonderful. Like they may or may not stay. So what was the audience like that stayed for the post show, and what was some of the responses?
The post show was pretty light. There weren't very many people. So So it was a really intimate conversation. It's also a very intimate space.
Yeah,
so it was after the matinee. I'm sure people were like hungry and like ready to be out of there. But the folks that did stay were really great. And the two women in particular really stuck out to me because both of them Black women who were very vocal about how important it is to see these brown bodies on stage and not just doing things like The Color Purple.
Yeah.
That was something that was really interesting to like be sitting next to the artistic director and she'd be like, we're so excited for this. Thank you so much. But I want to see her play any and all the roles, not just the brown ones. And it was like, like to have people who've come to see this and are super excited about it. And but they also have a yes and. And they are from the community. Yeah, was super, super important. And also just having conversations with people from the Laurel House, not just from that post show discussion, about what it is to work with and witness the physical life and emotional life of women who have experienced domestic violence. Because I had not heard of the Laurel House before, and then I went and did some research and like read up on who they were and like what they're about and what the statistics are, and it's just it blows my mind that while we talk about like how could this happen and this is crazy, like it's happening right now somewhere to someone.
Yeah, and again, we don't understand because we're on the outside looking in, and we're saying, I can't do that. We're looking at it like it's television, going, oh, that's too much for me, change the channel. And but when you're in it and there's so many emotional ties for whatever reasons, there's reasons, justifiable and unjustifiable, that keep you in those situations, and you have to understand and see the whole picture. To even understand how anybody gets to that place, the justifications that people are willing to make. So it was great to have a post-show discussion talking about that, because otherwise, this is how we pull it into today. This is still going on. There are still these acts of suppression that do not allow people to live their full lives. And, so we need to have more conversations like this. We need to see this in a past tense to see how it's similar to something going on in present, and how if there has been any change and what resources are here that were not there before. Because, now it's like if those church ladies observed this goings on, they would have told somebody. Hopefully we don't know. Maybe because there are people who know. Or just keep it to themselves. Because I know, like in Black families, it's just kind of like
keep a lot of things to ourselves. We don't go to therapy like we need to. There's just a lot of things we don't talk. We talk. We talk more, but we don't talk the way that we need to, the way that we should.
Oh, and we can tell anybody about themselves.
Oh yeah, but you better not be out in the streets. Don't try to read me. Don't put all our family business in the street.
Yes, definitely. And that is still very much present, and I think it comes from our family's fear of just being called out about, just this is none of their business. I always make these comments because I remember if somebody's trying to tell you how to parent, like my mother or my grandmother or my aunt would say, like, that's my child. They're my children. You don't tell me how to parent. There was just something about I forget which government agency had just said spanking is a no.
Oh yeah.
It's like, who are you telling?
Right. Yeah. I was listening to an interview. It's off topic, but they mentioned how detrimental it is to children now. Like the new studies they have, it's very interesting. It's like, okay, try and tell that to my grandmama and them.
Have you talked to everybody?
Because there's some people who out here who still might get their legs tapped, and they grown paying bills, have their own children.
Do I gotta reach through this phone?
Right, because Yeah, my grandmother used to say, "As for me and my house," like that's what she would say. Be like, "Oh God, okay, we're just gonna take that whole scripture out of context now." Great.
So you mentioned Tyson as Mister in his ending of the curse. What other moments stick with you in this piece?
Oh, so many. There's so much that happens on stage. There's and then so many things that being able to be present with everybody who's done such beautiful work that bring new life and new understanding every night. The things I think that are sticking out for me, now after finishing the first week of the run, Mr. Curse always sticks out to me. The moment in the top of the Color Purple seeing this big picnic. Because the thing that's so interesting that really got me, really took me by surprise last night, were the number of things that Celie calls into existence. She tells Sophia, when you get home and Nettie get home, us gonna have a big picnic. And having that picnic, not knowing that Nettie's coming home, all of these things that she speaks life to. It's time for me to you ain't nothing but a load on you. What did you say? It's time for me to leave you and enter into creation. Those things, they're just certain moments that word wise that pop out to me. I think I'm always tickled by the proposal scene because Tyson and I, we sometimes backstage, because there are days when I can't stay in the show. It's just a little too much. And so he'll say, all right, well, which one is going to get the comment today? Sometimes when I sing, I may be poor, I may be black, I may be ugly, but I'm here. They go off and they're like, yes, girl. And the moment when I say, okay, then good night, they're like, bye. And then he's like, okay, we keep a tally. And then when for the Celie getting the comment, and then when he says, will you marry me? And she goes, the other day there was something that said no. It was so quiet but so loud. It's okay. No, you're fine. And she says no. Those moments where the audience is participating really pop to me. I think having to live and giving up a child is something that always sticks out to me because I went on a tangent before, but Amanda, music direction-wise, did this thing. She made a choice to add in what used to happen musically was that the women would sing the top harmonies, and it would just be the women singing, which makes sense. From a theatrical standpoint, what they're trying to say thematically about that, but Amina wanted everybody to leave off stage to break, for the world to pull apart and focus in on this relationship before it breaks. And Amanda added in the male voices with the clarinet line, and to feel that energy of that clarinet line, the dark warmness of that, and the high ping and warmness of all these voices together is such a beautiful, I have this amazing gift, visceral response of what I don't know because I don't have children, but feeling the atmosphere shift is such a gift that always sticks out to me. And then all the people commenting on Sophia and Hell No, and all the people freaking out when Suge does all these innuendos and sexual gestures and everything.
I think what's also great about a piece like this is that it gives the audience permission to respond, and I love how I love how it opens with church, with Sunday, because that raw energy in that moment in a church when the music is too loud and everybody's
going on
all over the place. That is a moment that if you've gone to an evangelistic church or a Baptist church and been there in that moment, like you understand it. And if you're sitting in a theater and that's where it is, we just went to church. Okay, now come on now.
I love that. Like that's how we begin. It's like, hey sister, great. We know these two girls have a special bond. Great. It's Sunday morning. We going to church. We've warned you. We told you. We've added a few ad-libs in here for you so you understand the importance and grace and beauty of how excited we are to be in this building right now.
Yes.
And now we're going to do a thing that you may not understand. Because we had one audience. We did all the things. It's very interesting having these different audiences every night. We had an audience where we did it, and they were like, I don't know what you could hear them processing it and being like, and it was like, it's fine, girl. It's okay. Versus like opening or industry night or like other like a Thursday night when people are like, yeah, and it's like, welcome, be here with us.
There was a similar moment like that in Horizon's production of Black Nativity, and Ozzie Jones directed. He was in the back of the audience going, yeah, get that the whole time. And I was like, what's this, Ozzie here?
Those moments, like, that's what sticks out to me most, is the moments when the audience is listening.
Yeah.
Even when Celie says he the baby daddy, it's his to decide, I guess. You know who the audience is in those moments. You're like, where are you today? Like, on this journey that we're taking together, what kind of audience are you? Because they are the last character. They're the last actor that we add to everything. And they are so essential to this piece. Yeah. And I haven't, this is no shade to any other productions that I've been to, that I've been a part of, that I've enjoyed being a part of and working on. But I have not been a part of something where people are where the participation of the audience, where the show is designed in such a way that the participation of the audience lifts and elevates it to a new place of community and understanding. I think that's the thing that I love most. Yeah, and that's probably why I love Mr. Song most, because people are like, I don't like him, forget about this fool, and then they hear all these things, and Tyson does such a beautiful job, and such an honest job of portraying, of living this man's truth. Yeah,
I keep going back to this moment, this thought of forgiveness, because I feel like we're challenged with that too. But they're so good. How do I can't dislike any of them. They're just so wonderful right now. Even playing this evil man, like he's still wonderful. And
I think that's what I like most about Tyson's portrayal, because it wasn't like, even like listening to the soundtrack and things, I never really, you don't hear much from Mr. Yeah. He's like in and out, and we understand him to be, from an archetypal standpoint, the villain, right? He's someone that we can pin all of that on. But Tyson is such a fully realized, dimensional person. He's not some angry, just taking all the rage out on, like mean for meanness sake. He has mean for meanness sake moments, but everything is motivated. Yeah. Because that's what happens to us as people. I firmly believe that. No one is evil without context. It's context to everything, and I think like he does a beautiful job, because if he wasn't bringing you a fully rounded, vulnerable, ironically vulnerable characterization and truth, there would be no reason to hear from him or see him or forgive him. Yeah. Yeah, Celie would go make paints, and then we'd be like, cool, girl. Mr. Who.
Yeah. I definitely do. My family on my mother's side has roots in Georgia. They're from Hawkinsville, which is a couple hours south of Macon. And so I was thinking about that and how they must have been brought up living down there, and my grandmother on my father's side lives in Georgia now, in Waycross, which I'm not quite sure where that is.
Fair,
all I know is it's hard
My
to get to.
sister lives in Atlanta too, and I'm like, I don't know.
It's like an hour from
live.
Jessup one way and Savannah the other.
Okay,
But it's south. And I just all I can think of now is like, do you have Comcast there? I'm not coming.
Are you in the Middle East? Jesus, nowhere.
If you don't have a corporate takeover in your town,
No.
then I just can't.
We're such city people. It's so sad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what that is, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I always think about that when something plays down south. I'm just like, like whenever you hear something going on in Alabama and like Mississippi, or like, I can't.
Yeah.
I just can't.
I'm from Virginia, and my family grew up in Suffolk, so we would go to for family reunions. That's where we would go, and there's still cornfields and dirt roads, and
So I had the fortunate pleasure of being there opening night and see that wonderful cast celebrate. As you all celebrated yourselves after a wonderful performance, and watching you all pose for photos was great. We had the Black Panther symbol, which was beautiful, and those shots, everybody was like, over here.
It was so funny.
It was like perfect, like, keep an eye. Make sure you know all these names, because these are stars on the rise here. I can't say enough about this production, except that you have to go, you have to experience
Come
it.
hang out with us and cry and laugh with us.
Definitely. So I think I asked you back when we did an interview for Really. What presents a sense of urgency for you as an artist? But I'll ask you that now. But just moving forward, like, what are you looking forward to in the season? Like, what presents a sense of urgency for you now, as this production is part of your resume? Like, what are you thinking about now? Because you can't go back to. I feel like none of you can go back to like some, I don't know, just some 2-bed show or something or whatever. It's like, because it's like you can't. This is your bottom now. Yeah. And this is already
that's kind
too high for so many to reach. But like, so now that you've got this piece under your belt, like, what are you interested in doing from here? Do you want to do more singing?
I do. This was my first musical, and I've loved it so far. We have a while to go, so knock on wood. So I
know. I always feel like I'm rushing it off the stage. No. It's been extended twice. We got time.
Twice. We make it Theater Horizon history.
Yes.
I want to sing more. I want to help in any way that I can see more brown bodies doing more things. And so I'm trying to get myself together now that we've opened and we've gotten through this first week with like what that will look like. I know that there are like programming opportunities through the community. And so I want to figure out how to go about that and work as much as I can so that I can like afford to like do things like that I haven't done, like take voice lessons and things like that. Because I would love to do like a cabaret, do a cabaret where there's open discussion on like what it is to be a brown body in a regional scene. Because I think that Philly is tough. I was really surprised when they were doing The Color Purple that they weren't, they could have called a zillion donors and said, we need somebody from New York, you know? And I could have been understudying because that's typically what happens to be really frank, to Black women in theater in Philadelphia. They go to New York. And to have a Philadelphian director, I think made the world of a difference to the cast being local, to Theater Horizon. being who they are and sticking to their mission. It's a question of integrity and moral, and I want to uphold that and demand more while people are watching and listening.
Yeah.
Because, we're all 1 gig away. I'll do The Color Purple. It'll be something else in the spring. You know what I mean? Like, people were super excited about one. Some people were super excited about The Color Purple. And then, whatever it's going to be in the spring or, in the whatever to come.
I do think Philadelphia strikes a good balance, though. We're not just hard-hitting drama. We do have some great musicals that we can look back on in a season and say, oh my God, it's going to be tough. I mean, last week I went to 4 musicals.
Really?
I went to Color Purple first. And, that was Tuesday. Wednesday I went to see The Winter Wanderettes.
Oh, at the Walnut, yes.
And Thursday I went to see... Wait, no, I got it all mixed up. After that, I saw Matilda.
Okay.
And then on Sunday, I saw Oliver.
Oh, yes, Oliver Quintessence.
Yes. So there was so much going on. I couldn't keep track. I was like, this is
you're on musical overload.
And I'm on theater overload. Something like that. I guess it was like leading up to a weekend, the holiday, because I definitely have nothing for the rest of the week. And
that's good.
Next week, so far I only have 1 show, but they slowly add.
They do. I bet. I can only imagine.
It's so weird. It is like the best problem to have when I look up and say, "Oh, I gotta go to 4 shows."
I gotta go to 4 shows this week.
And so I often say, "I'm only going. You're all in it. Like you got the rehearsal process. You usually got another show that you're working on underneath this one. Now that this one's on its feet,
yeah,
and
that's what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Yeah. So. We won't talk about that one just yet. No. We want this one to breathe. Yeah, we want to focus on this one. Let this one breathe. But promise to come back to me for your next piece.
Yeah.
I'm following you for the rest of your career.
Yeah, great. That sounds good to me.
Jessica, it was a pleasure to experience you on stage. I feel like my introduction to you was It's a Wonderful Life, the radio play. And then I got to see you in a drama, and then moving in a couple of dramas, and then moving on to this. I'm so excited to see how high your star will reach and how bright you will shine.
Thank you.
And this wonderful cast as well. I can't wait to see their names show up in future playbills and think,
yeah.
All right, so we followed all of y'all.
Yes, me too.
Yes. But it was a pleasure. So this production, The Color Purple, it's the regional premiere produced by Theater Horizon. It is on stage till pretty much Christmas.
Yeah.
And you get tickets. You can go to theaterhorizon.org and get more than one because theater is more fun with +1. Jessica, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. This is probably one of the longest Rep Radio interviews.
It's been wonderful.
I could just talk forever, but I will let you go so you can rest your voice.
Yeah.
And continue to crush it on this stage until the end of December. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Truly a pleasure. Rep Radio continues to be inspired by our community and listeners like you. You can support our work through our fiscal sponsor, Fractured Atlas, and through our Patreon page. Visit repradio.org/donate for more. Stay tuned. You know the rest.